back, class! Now, last time we applied the question of battling a horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses to American slavery. All-out abolition was the one giant opponent, while finding a way to deal with slavery was the many, many small opponents. Click here to catch up with part 1. We had left off with the Missouri Compromise and a seemingly foolproof way to keep everyone happy, right? Wrong. It's always wrong! The decision to take on the duck-sized horses of living with slavery would push the United States to the brink in the year between 1820 and 1861. Now, this isn't to say that nobody wanted to switch opponents. Certainly abolitionist authors like Frederick Douglass and William Lloyd Garrison took on the horse-sized duck with their narrative and publications. The American Colonization Society even founded Liberia to take their duck-sized foes out of the equation. But something happened that really put the pressure on. Expansion. At the end of the last episode, I exclaimed, "Oh crap, there's 1/3 of the country still left to be gained!" Sidebar, we read a lot about the word exclaimed when we were reading in 2nd grade, but nobody ever seems to use it in real life. Back to the lesson, America got bigger! How? Let's see. Florida was bought from the Spanish in 1819. Texas, after dumping Mexico, was annexed in 1845. This created a love triangle climaxing with the Mexican-American War and the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo. That led to the Mexican Cession, and when you pepper that in with the Gadsden Purchase and the Oregon Territory, boom! Manifest destiny! Which brings up the same problem we had in 1820, return of the duck-sized horses! And those duck-sized horses were called secretariat. I mean sectionalism. The North and South had become increasingly divided in every sense of the word. Both sides saw the West as what would decide who would reign supreme. Now, the country could have just extended the slave-free borderline stated in the Missouri Compromise to the Pacific Ocean, but no, of course not. A lot of tiny horses would have been vanquished by David Wilmot's Wilmot Proviso, which would ban slavery in the West, but of course that was struck down in the Senate after passing in the House. Instead, with all this new land, we got the Compromise of 1850, and it's 5 points. Because government legislation with numerous parts and stipulations is always a good thing. Among the main points, California would be a free state. Slavery would be abolished. In DC only. Utah and New Mexico would decide their slave status with popular sovereignty. And Congress would pass a new, stronger Fugitive Slave Act requiring the citizens of any state, slave or free, to assist in the capture and return of runaway slaves. I feel like I heard a duck-sized horses just stampeded across my face. Why? First off, popular sovereignty. On paper, the idea that a territory or state had the right to choose its path on an issue sounds great. In actuality, especially because that issue is slavery, it's made of suck. Both Utah and New Mexico had voted to have slavery, and it got worse with the Kansas-Nebraska Act. Kansas and Nebraska were trying to become official territories. Problem was, they were from the Louisiana Purchase and were above that old line. And Stephen Douglas said, let's just use the nifty new popular sovereignty rule instead. And everything went smoothly. No, it didn't! This effectively threw out the Missouri Compromise and led to widespread violence in the territories and even in the Senate. Add in the Dred Scott decision, which said that Congress couldn't restrict slavery in the territories, as well as that the slave in question had no actual rights, and something weird started to happen. These duck-sized horses, they started to congeal, to assemble, to become a horse-sized duck. When Abraham Lincoln was elected president in 1860, the North and South said that all they had done was put off the ultimate fight. This would be fought in the form of the Civil War. Now, it'd be easy to say that the Founding Fathers should have known to tackle the larger issue instead of the lingering one. But could our infant country have survived such a battle in its young, untested state? I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments. That's all for this time. Real quick, if you don't know who Hughes is, he's like me times 10, runs this awesome channel, and will be starring in the new H2 series, The United States of Stuff, premiering Saturday, June 14th at 10 o'clock. Sub him before he's famous. As for me, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at Mr. Betts Class. Be safe, and I'll see you next time.